Hey, everybody, this is Tim Shaw, and thank you for being here. Where else would you be on a Tuesday night? You why? Because we're all losers. That's why, because we have nothing to do on a Tuesday night. We're old. We don't want to go out. It's cold out here in the East, and I don't want to go and spend money in a bar tonight. That's the way it works. Hey, Chris Chisa, how are you? The tank is rolling through you, baby. That's the way it's working. Hey, Kenneth, how are you? We have a great show tonight. You know what? I have a great friend on, and I'm going to tell you right now that he was probably one of the very first people that I met in the whole crypto world that I actually trusted. And we were laughing about it before the show because it's like anything else. People are people, and we all are a little, you know. Listen. I'm no bowl of cherries to hang out with. So he's a great guy. But before that, hey, blessed. Oh my God, winter solstice. Oh my God, it's the returning of the sun. In the beginning when we started losing light, it bothered me. It bothered me a lot. I would say, like within the last few weeks, I'm just kind of used to it. But then I come down here to the office and I have LED lights and everything down here, and it really makes kind of a big difference to me. But it's so great that we're able to go and really just enjoy this time. We get a chance to enjoy this time, and we know that we're halfway there. Pretty soon we're just going to start gaining some time, and that I can't wait for. I can't wait to get out. And I kid about being cold and being a loser, but I mean, I love getting out into the outdoors. If anybody's Have you guys seen the buck that's literally in my backyard? It's amazing because, like, the old place that we used to live in, I mean, the wildlife was watching kids run down the street with somebody's TV set they stole. That was the wildlife. Over here, I mean, we got turkey and we got, we got deer. And oh my God, this guy, that big guy, big old guy had a rack on him today. I love it. I just love seeing it. And I'm literally 10 minutes away from the Rhinestone Preserve, and it's got all these wonderful hiking trails in there, and we can go in the wintertime. I like to go snowshoeing in Nancy, and I love going out there and doing that. So we get a chance to do that and hang out. But yeah, I'm kind of jazzed up. It feels good. I think a lot of things. Oh, I got to tell you what's going on in the house. Nancy's sister is coming. My sister-in-law is flying in from. Hey, Nan. Uh, Nancy says 10 minutes. We're 1 minute away. It depends if we walk or drive. That's what it is from the Rhinestone Woods. But Nancy's sister's coming in, and I got to tell you what's happening. You know, our house now, it's not too paranormally active. The old house, we used to see like a shadow walk across like our dining room, and we used to see a lot of interesting things. When I'd be at a conference, Nancy would hear like my roller chair, my desk chair would roll around. She would hear that. I used to have well, I still do. I have other things in now, but I used to keep on my Ouija boards, especially like the vintage ones, in this great big wooden chest, like a antique carpenter's chest. And every so often I hear a bang on that, or you'd hear like some whisperings or whatever. And since we've moved here, we really don't get a lot. Every so often I'll get out of, I'll look up over the top of the laptop here that we're working with, and I'll get like a shadow person to kind of zip in and zip out, like, hey, what are you doing? Oh, I'm on the air, never mind. And it's pretty neat to be able to enjoy that. But Nancy's sister is coming into town, and we haven't seen her since their mom passed away a couple of years ago. And Nancy says to me in our family room, she goes, did you turn this, because Nancy is the embodiment of Christmas, of Yule and Christmas. If she could walk around with tinsel in her hair and have little lights going on and off, which I should go to the dollar store and buy her one of those things with the bulbs on it. She would. She loves Christmas and she likes decorating. So she's got 5, 6 trees in the house. And the tree in our family room today went on. And she goes, did you turn that on? I go, no, I didn't turn that on. She goes, are you sure? I said, no, I didn't turn it on. I didn't turn it on. I mean, I'm going to tell you if I turned it on, and me being the Grinch, the embodiment of the true Grinch, I'm not going to go turn the damn lights on, I mean, maybe I'll turn the leg lamp on in the front window, but that's as far as it goes. And that happened, and then a light. Nancy's got a couple of these candles, battery operated candles. Uh, she turned them all off, and one was on today. So we're having a little bit of, I think, a little bit of activity in the house, and it might be her mom. The two of the sisters getting together, for a holiday. I think her mom would like that. So yeah, that's what's going on here. I think it's pretty cool. And you guys saw the big print that I got from the Buffalo Statler Hilton earlier, and Connor Hawkins, who's like a building manager there, up until the end of this year, when they're tearing stuff apart, they actually put it on an auction site, and he actually bought that big 4x4, 3 of them, 4x4 prints for like $3.50. And hi, Peg, how are you? And he gifted that to me. That I love it, because the Statler was one of those buku haunted places. It was really a haunted mecca, and it was just phenomenal. And I got such beautiful things from there, and for my collection. Hey Mel, how you doing? And how's your daughter feeling? I hope she's feeling well. And it's just a great place. Well, he actually took us on our final walkthrough, because it's being shut down because it's going to be totally rehabbed. It was stripped out. Hey, Commander Bill is in the room. It was totally stripped out before, and now it's even stripped out more. So he took us around, and it's funny because you walk through these places where there used to be walls. Hey, Kath, there used to be freezers. There used to be all this stuff, and now it's just open. And the plans for it now are they're going to make it into a residential, a hotel, and business, and like a boutique hotel. And eventually they're looking at building it into a casino. So it's got 3 towers. So there's so much that could be done with it. So we are just hey, my old grammar school friend, Karen, how are you? How's the weather down there in Florida? So it's really so nice. It's really going to be nice to be there. But he actually let us go in, and we did a small investigation, and we did get some response. We've got some EVP responses, and it's kind of sad, it's a little sad, because like you might have seen some of the photos that I took out the windows of the electric tower, and and City Hall and everything, and that'll be the last time we'll probably be able to really see that in that atmosphere. So it was just so nice to be able to do that. And so thank you, Connor, for inviting us to go there, and and all these years that he's really treated us so well. But he's got a couple other irons in the fire. He owns a bar called by the name of Banshee. It's an Irish bar, and I got a hankering to get down there for some Irish music. I don't want imitation Irish music. And besides, Connor is right from Ireland, so there won't be any any mismanagement there. He knows what's going on, and he has some really great talent that walks in there. So Connor, thank you again for doing that. And Joe, my buddy Joe Piari, is doing well, and we're going to be doing some things over there. As some of you guys, hey, Mark, my drummer friend, he's there. Hi, Annette, how are you? Oh, how are you, Mrs. Commodore? How are you? And you guys have seen that I'll be there. We're going to do table tipping, and I don't know if the tickets are on sale yet. I think they are. In January, we're going to do a table tipping class there, and I'm going to do private readings there. But what they're not telling you is in February, my buddy Eric Tuberdike, who was on the show, the musician who plays all crazy, like really, he writes all these like really like macabre and crazy, music. He and I are going to do something there. And then my friend, hey, Tim, how are you? How are you doing? And then my friend Frank Kupka, Rick, how are you, Rick? Rick we call him the paranormal investigator extraordinaire. He's in the room today. But my friend Frank Kupka, who is a retired corrections officer, will be speaking with me in February or March, maybe, on corrections, and ghosts. He's been at Sing Sing. He's been posted at some crazy places. So he's going to go, and we're going to talk about that. And I'll do some maybe readings or whatever. We'll work on a format, but we're going to do that. So that's going to be fun. And I'm calling this my Cabin Fever lecture series, so that so people can come out once a month and just have fun, and it's not really expensive. And, maybe once in a while I'll open up my wallet and get some donuts or something, because I'm that type of guy once in a while. Once in a while. Anyway, oh, and Christy London. Psychic Christy London and I are also planning on doing something there in the springtime. So we're doing some things. Hey, Melody, how are you? It's good to see you. Melody is an old friend of mine. I haven't seen you in a while. Well, anyway, let's bring on our guest. My guest tonight, and I gotta tell you what. In this field, there's a lot of pains in the asses out there. I'll just throw it right out there. It's the way it works. You guys know how I am. I love this guy. I love this guy, and I love his wife Teresa, because they're just genuine. They're genuine people, and they've been interested in this almost, I would say, just about their entire lives. And I just love it. And he's one of the first people that I actually met that he was into crypto. And I was just learning about crypto. I mean, I didn't know that much about it. I mean, it was great. And I ran into him, but I think I first met him. We'll have to talk about this. We were at a UFO conference, someplace outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I was kind of worried about it because the first person I met actually had a velour running suit on and a fanny pack. And I knew I was in trouble then. And I thought, I had never gone to a UFO Bigfoot conference. And all I could think of was, am I going to see Mr. Spock or I don't know. I didn't know what to expect. And it was really great. It was a great time. And I would say 99.99 percent of the people were actually normal. There was a couple Klingons walking around, and we're not talking about the ones that are on TV, but we'll talk about that. So let me bring on an old friend. And you know what? What's nice about old friends? Because when you have a good old friend, you pick up, you may not talk to each other for years, you may not see each other for years, but you're able to pick up immediately right where you left off. So everybody, I want you to meet the belle of the ball. He's effervescent, he's iridescent, he's got good hair. Does I'm not going to say I'm just going to say that when I first met him, it wasn't as white as it is now, but he's getting there. Bring on Brian Seech. Hey, Brian, how are you, buddy?
Hey, I'm happy to be on tonight. Just wanted to say that tonight I'm starting our good old-fashioned Seech family Christmas 5-day vacation, and I'm starting it with you, Tim. I'm excited.
Hey, listen, I'm honored by that. Are you kidding me? That's fantastic. I'm telling you, where else would you want to be on a Tuesday night? Who wants to? You don't want to just go out there and just like hang out. You know what I mean? What's there to hang out with? This is the way to do it. You're hanging out at the Black Cat Lounge, and we're talking nonsense tonight. That's what we're gonna do. I absolutely love it. I love it. Hey, you know why I love talking to you and with you? I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk with you. Because you're so well versed. Because when I first met you, you were really, you knew your stuff when it came to crypto. But then I think, we did the old, that's right. I forgot. We filmed an episode of Curiosity with you and Terry.
Yeah, favorite
and yeah, and
our old house. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally forgot. And you guys were into UFOs. You guys were into just not Bigfoot, but like all the other little mysteries and usual stuff going on, and along with metaphysics. And I thought that's perfect because that's what you want. You want somebody that is well-rounded in everything. And I'm well-rounded. You, my friend, come up here and I'll feed you. But most of the time,
you're on that, Tim. You eat well,
dude. Hey, come on up, dude. You're still as thin as a rail. As long, I don't care what anybody says.
I've actually lost weight, Tim. Unfortunately, I guess, but
I don't even want to hear that. I found it. I stumbled on it, and it came up through my feet. But when we start talking about different things now, tell everybody like where you live, and I'll just tell everybody right now. You live in a really fascinating area. I love being able to go and like open up my door and have like all these mysteries and all this stuff, like just waiting for me to fall into. That's pretty much where you live. Tell everybody where you live and some of the stuff that, and we'll just throw some of the, some interesting, some little interesting tidbits so that people can go on their crypto para, tours and come down to visit.
Well, actually, we just moved about 3 months ago. We now live in Weirton, by God, West Virginia. That is the uh, northern panhandle of West Virginia. We lived all of our lives basically in Hopewell, and which was in Beaver County, southwestern Pennsylvania. So now we get to research still southwestern Pennsylvania. We're only about 45 minutes from where we used to live. And we also can research Ohio, which is literally like 5 minutes down the road. We're close to state parks like Tomlinson Run, which has had Bigfoot activity, and Beaver Creek State Park, where we were with you, Tim.
I love Beaver Creek. That you know what's neat about the place that you took us at Beaver Creek. First of all, we passed a sign that said, "Oh God, who is oh, Pretty Boy Floyd was killed in that field."
Yes, yes, up on the hill. Yep.
I'm thinking to myself, where the hell is he taking me? And do I have to go and worry about somebody playing a banjo? I was kind of worried about that at first because I saw that sign and go, where I and at that point, I mean, there really wasn't anything around there. And what I loved about it was not only because of the crypto stuff, but it has one of the most fascinating stories about a lock.
Gretchens
And
Lock. Yes.
Gretchen's Lock. Tell everybody about Gretchen's Lock, because to me, this is the stuff that interests me more than anything else. This is the stuff that I love this. This is stuff that is so interesting that I drive my poor wife up the wall because I have to stop and I have to find out more about what's going on. But Gretchen's Lock, tell everybody about that, because that to me is a fascinating story.
Yeah, Gretchen's Lock was it was a story about a lady named Gretchen, and she was to be wed uh, to her fiance, and he actually left to go overseas, and unfortunately, he never came back, and she ended up, uh, she ended up perishing, and they they basically said that the ghost, this ghost of Gretchen, kind of lives down or is seen a lot down the lock, that down at the lock that we went to. There's also a lot of Bigfoot activity in that area. We've heard some strange calls down there, had some weird things happen. Been UFO activity over the lock. One of my favorite places to research. We've had more interesting things happen there than basically anywhere we've ever went. So, um, and you saw, it's about half a mile walk down to Gretchen's, and you walk past these huge mountains and things like that, and it's a creepy feeling down there. I think there's some things down there, and I think you picked up on some of them. So,
Oh yeah.
it is just a cool place. It really is one of my favorite places to investigate.
Is it true that Gretchen was actually buried in the lock?
Um, oh, I think
I,
she may have been buried and they unburied her. I'm kind of. It's been such a long time since I've talked about that, and researched that. So,
yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, because why? Because I looked at the footage before we came on the air. Um, she died and they buried her, like, I'm not sure, in that one little area of the lock or next to it. Finished the canal and then came back and then dug her up
dug her up.
and
Yeah,
then
you're right. Yeah,
sent her back to Germany or something. And then
yeah,
the
yeah,
ship went
yeah.
down. Or I mean, what a fantastic story. But that place is like, you know what? I hate that they bandy the word vortex around all over the place, because yours truly can stumble into something that people are saying is a vortex, and I'm thinking to myself, this is like a slanted floor. That's all this is. But when I walked down there, that had some crazy stuff going on. And if I'm not mistaken, we got some really, there's nothing around there, and we got some K2 hits there.
Yeah, we have a friend, Leah, who's a sensitive, and she claims there is, right down, not going towards the lock off to the left, off to the right, just down maybe, oh, I don't know, like 40 yards, 30 yards, that there is an actual portal there. And we did try to measure it on two different occasions, but we used EMF, we used night vision, we used a thermal, but we didn't come up with
Hmm.
anything. But we actually even we did it 3 times. We actually did some frequencies down there. one of our new things to try to play frequencies and to see what's happened. But unfortunately, so we're like 0 for 3 on some investigations. But we will be going down there more this year because we're only about 40 minutes now from that area. So
Well, let's face it. I mean, this is the fun of what we do. People don't get it. People want that thrill ride. They want the, is there anybody here? And you hear this, F you. That's what they want. That's what they want, Brian. They want that. They want that shock.
most of the
And
time, nothing happens, and that. Let's
yeah,
face it.
but I love the fact that when you like Joe Piari comes up with all this crazy stuff, and we're going to talk about frequency in a couple seconds.
Okay.
Because Joe, when Joe loves he likes all the spirit boxes, and he's really good at what he does, and he's got the one of those real expensive, obsolete, I can't even, either Panasonic, I think they're Panasonic, the 60s,
yeah,
the
yeah, I
RS60s,
know what you're talking about.
and the stuff that he gets off of that is very impressive.
Mm-hmm.
But we were using I think it was a run of the mill. I don't know if it was a SB7 or whatever. I mean, Brian, if you came over here, you'd see like I have one of everything that I don't use. All the hacks and everything are all in boxes. Wow. But I think we're using an SB7, and he took a karaoke mic, one of those handheld ones that drives my wife up the wall because I sing to her with it. It's got the echo on it, and he used that, and we were getting responses. Wow. So it's almost as if maybe we're hitting that frequency. We're hitting, if you think about it, if thoughts are things are vibrational in nature.
Yes.
Frequency would be a quicker way of communication. And I always carry one now with me. But what kind of experiments are you guys doing with frequency? And what does it all mean for people that are just tuning in and kind of like, well, I've never thought about using frequency?
Well, what Tesla said, everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. And we think that some of these paranormal events, and I'm talking, if you want to throw cryptids in there, we're doing research with this on some of the light spheres that have been seen in conjunction with some Bigfoot sightings and in the woods. And we think that maybe by playing some of these frequencies, we can, because we have a special machine that was made for us. It may be by playing some of these frequencies, we might hit on a certain frequency that maybe, how do you say it? Maybe make them appear. Or we also, when we do this, we're also looking into other factors, which a lot of people may not do. Some people do, but we also looking into space weather, and that's coronal mass ejections,
right,
solar flares, especially geomagnetic storms. I think geomagnetism and magnetism in general, I think it has a lot to do with some of these paranormal events, and it's just a new way of looking, and new way of looking at all of this things. Maybe we can come up with just a small piece of the puzzle, basically.
I love the whole idea behind that, because I think, and Jason Hawes, I think it was not Jason Hawes, I can forget who. Barry Kling from the old Ghost Lab show. Recently, he put on Facebook, do you think the field is advancing, falling back, or staying the same? What do you think it is? And I was like, sort of like, well, I think it's falling backwards because there's more people that are more worried about the outcome rather than the journey to get there, and trying to figure this stuff out. And Jason Hawes says, well, I think what the problem was, I think what it is everything is staying the same. We're not being innovative. And that's where I think paranormal investigators and even UFO guys and crypto guys, they're not being innovative enough, and they're not pushing it. Now, you said you got a machine that was made for you, dude. If it wasn't so cold, I'd be driving down tomorrow to check out that frequency machine.
Yeah,
because
it's pretty cool.
What I've been doing is there's a free app on there that you can do with frequencies. You're kind of limited because of the speaker on your phone, or even if you're using a Bluetooth, you're still limited to it. And it's not like something that would be in that higher range. But what I've been doing is at different sites, I've been using tuning forks. and working with tuning forks
Yeah, our
just to
friend Jamie
go.
King does that. Yes,
And
yes.
it's kind of amazing to do that because what I found is there's two different frequencies that if I hit it, ask the question, I get a response back. Like, now I won't say like sometimes real time, but I'll say with a certain
Mhm.
amount of time, like a reasonable amount of time. Like maybe a 30 count is reasonable. And to me, that is like crazy amazing. And frequency is just something that people don't look at. And it's even like, what remember the old days? You're an old timer. You'll remember those. Remember the EM?
Oh, thanks, buddy.
Remember? Yeah, you like the way I throw you in underneath the bus on
Yeah,
that one?
oh,
Gee, I
yeah.
remember when you were 30-year-old and I was
You too. I
50,
was
but
probably about getting close to 40, I think, when I met you, something like, yeah. No,
probably,
no, probably 30ish. Yeah, mid 30s. It's
yeah,
been a
probably
while.
30. And,
Hmm.
uh, we talk about just trying to figure out what we can do to aid in what we're and how we're doing it. And I fall back to I just go back to the old spiritualist stuff where, okay, this is their theory. Let's see what happens with it and let's experiment with it.
Yes.
Now, let's talk about the spheres, the light spheres, because light spheres, I get a lot of, and I'm sorry for everybody that sent me photographs of orbs where I say interesting. I'm so sorry about that because I can't, I don't want to, I don't like to crush anybody's hopes by saying, oh, it's dust, it's water. But I will say there's been two occasions where I personally witnessed like this light orb, like where it was like one almost came up the stairs and it was like the size of a soccer ball and it was silver and rotating and it just like blew up like in front of us. And out of seven of us, four of us saw it. And then I've seen in a location, I've seen something about the same size, but it kind of floated and then it did a zigzag. And I have no I'm going to be honest with you, Brian. I have no I've got no answers for it. What do you think? Let's talk about what are your experiences with those light orbs? I mean, that to me
Well,
that's fascinating.
I've had two, Tim, and they've both been at a place called Livermore, in uh, Westmoreland County. And the very first one was probably about 6 years ago. Um, we had a team, and I took part of the team, and I went down this trail. It's a heritage trail, and the other part of the team stayed at this bridge. So I was about, more than a half a mile from the other team, and we could not see them. We could not see their flashlights or anything. So all of a sudden, we see this. Best to describe it, it was an orb. It was white, and it was bobbing up and down, kind of like, an old someone working on the railroad and had one of those old lanterns. It was bobbing back
Yeah,
and forth, and we saw it. There was like five in our team, and we tried to get it on. Like, we had cameras and everything. We had night vision. We couldn't get it like on night vision, but when you put the night vision down, it was coming towards you, and it just disappeared. So the next time we did it was probably about 3 years after that. I think that was probably about 3 years ago. So yeah, so we're on that bridge down the other end, and we're using our machine. We had the machine then, and we look up and we see this orb. It's over the river, and it looks like it's split in two, and then it just moved out of sight. Now we have our friend Patricia actually has that on camera, and maybe in a documentary that she has coming out. So again, what are they? Are they energy? Are they sentient, or could this be some kind of a light being or something? We just don't
right.
know. It's just, man, it's just so interesting that we do think that there's something going on with it. And I just want to go back real quick about a quick story. How we're talking about experimenting and doing different things. We've done a lot of different things like with Bigfoot. And one of the things that we did, like, this had to be over 10 years ago. We went down to Beaver Creek and we played whale calls. Okay. And people were saying, why would you do that? Well, it's because it was something different. If there was some kind of a creature in the area, we wanted to throw something different at it so it could hear it and see if we got any kind of response. Now, we didn't, mind you. But about 4 years after that, okay, uh, talking Dave and Kerry Rupert, they saw Finding Bigfoot did it here in the Kinzu Dam, and then they said, "Yeah, you guys did that 4 years ago." So they act like, hey, they were the first ones that did it. We did it 4 years ago. Now we didn't have any results, to be honest with you, but our thing has always been, no matter what field we're in, we like to go outside the box. We like to do different things. We've used a singing bowl for Bigfoot, different kind of lights to attract it.
Mhm.
Nothing's worked. So I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to like lie, but like for anyone out there too, try different stuff. What's it going to hurt? What do you just don't tell anybody what you do. Try it. If you're just doing the same things, you're just beating your head against the wall. You got to try different things. And we
Exactly.
don't care. We just do it,
But see, too many people are looking for that end result. And the end result is not as important as the experimentation of doing it. And that's why everything becomes so static, because
Yeah.
if you don't push yourself and you don't start experimenting, then it becomes a public ghost hunt. This is a K2 meter. Okay, we got something. Actually, somebody got a text coming in, but that's the problem. And it just doesn't click. And that's why I love hanging. That's why I love hanging with you guys, because you guys are insane when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
We don't care. We're just, we just try. I mean, what's it
but
going to
that's
hurt?
but that's it. And you know what? Every so often, sometimes it works. Sometimes it works. That's what I mean. We were all laughing about that karaoke mic. We're all in hysterics over it until we actually heard it, and whatever everybody went out and must have cleaned out Amazon's supply of karaoke mics, because everybody I knew had one and was using it on there. Hey, we're going to take a little break, Bri,
Okay.
and we're gonna be right back. Yeah, I was going to say, well, I got to pay for sponsorship, but actually, no, I'm you know how it is. We're cheap here. So anyway. You're listening to Tim Shaw. Our guest tonight is Brian Seech, and you're listening to What Else? The Black Cat Lounge, where the elite meet next to the dumpster transfer station. Hold on a second. Let's pay some bills.
The Black Cat Lounge is sponsored by Paranormal Oddities, The Little Store with the Big Heart, Buffalo Phantom Hunters, Patronus Photographic for all of your photography and design needs, Nancy's Sewing Room, masks, aprons, purses, and more, and Wild Raven Candles for those magical times.
And we're back. Our guest tonight is the famous, the fantastic, and the internet is just like going, hello, hello, my good friend, Brian Seech.
I'll pay you later for all these compliments. Okay.
Hey, listen, these you can put these on credit. Put these on credit. That's the way it's going to work.
Hey, there is one interesting story, Tim, that I do want to say.
Okay.
One of the most interesting things that has happened to us, and it was up at Hinsdale, the Hinsdale house, very well, because I've seen your writing on there. This was about 3 years ago.
You mean the Wall of Fame up there?
The
Yeah.
Wall of
Okay.
Fame, and you're very famous up there.
Yeah, I'm so famous. My autograph was right above the recycling recycling garbage can. So that's what that was.
So what happened is we had our machine. We had just, I think, only used it like 2 or 3 times, or maybe twice before this. So what happened is, where the little pond, the pond is. We take our machine by the pond. Okay. Now, you remember what's over that pond?
What do you, as in?
There's an electrical wire over that pond.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because that was the old barn.
Yeah.
That's where the barn was located.
So not only that, okay, here's the 3 factors that might have combined to cause this event. Maybe not, but so, okay, there was the water, great conductor of energy. There was the wire over the wire over the water. There was our frequency machine playing some, we only play like high vibrational
right
frequencies. Okay, we don't want to attract like the army of darkness, and we have to fight our way out, right? But
the army of darkness. I've never heard that up there. That's a first for me.
So, you know what else? Something very special happened that night. A major geomagnetic storm that
Oh,
night. Okay. So we're playing our frequencies. Okay. Now I think maybe all these things combined, maybe, because you can't say for sure. Suddenly we look up to our left. Okay. And boy, the way I can describe this, and you can ask the Amy Perry was there, Jason Brock. Uh, there was like 15 of us there. So, and this is weird. You guys remember Stranger Things? Did you watch Stranger Things? Have you ever seen that?
you know what? I haven't watched the whole thing, but I mean, yeah,
Well, the first season. You
yeah,
remember in the sky, what happened? It kind of looked like a round halo.
right.
Well, there was this round halo of clouds, two black, I don't even know how to describe it. Two black strings were coming out of it, and there was lightning inside of it.
Wow.
And we watched this for maybe 12 seconds, and no one had, no one like brought the camera equipment to take pictures of it and everything. Everybody was just so, oh my God, that it's the weirdest thing that ever happened. And what I do like to say is, you got to be skeptical too. You can't, but I'm just wondering, okay, when there's a major geomagnetic storm, if you have certain factors, now we live right next to a creek. Okay, we're in a holler in West Virginia.
Right.
We're in a holler. We're surrounded by woods, and we haven't done any experiments down here yet. I mean, we're going to in the spring. But did all of those factors, did they have any bearing on what we saw in the sky? Again, I don't know, and I tried to look up what that could have been. I mean, I looked up sprites, I looked up all these other atmospheric phenomena. I couldn't find it. But I'm telling you, Tim, you can, if you ask Terry, ask Amy, it was the weirdest thing. Now, could all of those factors at just at one time cause that? I don't know, but boy, I'd love to.
Perfect storm.
I'd love to get back up to the Hinsdale. But the chances of having a major geomagnetic storm that night.
Yeah,
but
it's a perfect storm. It's a perfect storm. I was up at Waverly, and I was at the old Waverly Tuberculosis Hospital, and it was high static. We were tornado conditions.
Yeah.
And it was amazing because of course, you had green sky and lightning was shooting horizontally, and it was coming at us, and everybody was like, "I paid for this ticket. I'm not leaving tonight." And it came at us, and all of a sudden, it just went around us, and you could see the lightning all the way around us. And it at one point, because Waverly's on the top of a hill, just like Hinsdale is up in the little hill. I mean, it was like directly over the top of us, and it just kept going. And eventually, I think it's when you have all the factors are just right. I think this is stuff that can happen. It's just like, let's face it, I'm a big proponent that UFOs are interdimensional. I'm sorry, I'm one of those people that I just don't believe in the nuts and bolts thing of it, and I don't believe that everything is this craft actually went from A to Z. I believe a lot of it is I believe that it's so interdimensional. I'm talking wormholes, this whole thing, and because what I've experienced is I don't know how to explain it, like an overlay scenario or a flap, where all of a sudden you have high amounts of paranormal activity happening at a location, and it combines with UFO activity within that same time period, less than like 10 days, let's say 10 days, where it's just like, now, I mean, I'm a firm believer this has got to have some kind of bearing of what we're seeing, what we're experiencing. And I believe a lot of it has to do with static electricity and frequency. I truly believe that because, well, let's face it, cell phones can travel 300 miles. Really, if you think about it, I think that's what they, can bounce off of hills and all that. If you get those echoes, you get sound called acoustic echoes can travel 10, 15 miles where, where something loud is going on 5 miles away. nobody hears anything. 20 miles away, it's like deafening. That was something that happened during the American Civil War, time and time again. So this whole idea of frequency is so fascinating to me. And like, again, I get people, Brian, I know you're going to find this hard to believe, but I piss off the church people because
No, I don't believe that one bit, Tim. Not one bit.
But you know, a lot of the spiritualists are like, they're heavy on the guide stuff, the personality, true personality, where I work with more frequency. And that's the way, like, even when I'm, you know, if you saw me work for Portals to Hell, everything is energy, bang, bang, bang. That's what you're getting. I believe that's part of it. And if everything is just right, it just opens wide and it gets crazy. And Tammy just wrote, makes sense. A lot of people don't know if the auroras are very strong, and you can actually hear them. And yeah. Oh, here's another one. What is it called? I'm sure you probably, I can't think of the proper name for it, but it's something to do with earth sounds, where it's infrasound. Is that what it is? Where like some animals can hear it, but humans can't.
There are certain animals that do infrasound, like tigers and elephants, and the other elephants and one can hear that miles away. That's infrasound. Yeah, a lot of people say that Bigfoot uses infrasound. We were zapped with, you know, they call it zapped. Me, Terry, and Dave Rupert down at Salt Fork. We got out of our cars. Okay, we start walking and we all stopped. We stopped and we all looked at each other and we said, something's not right here. So we go over to the shelter, which the rest of our group was there. And they said, the woods are off. Something's wrong. The woods are off. So Dave and I walked, you know, we walked up and down this road with all of our equipment. We didn't hear anything. We didn't see anything, but we sure as hell felt something. We felt like there was something there. Again, we did not see anything, hear,
right,
or smell. But I tell you, Tim, if somebody would ever ask me the weirdest experience I had, it was that night. And Dave and, you know, my wife, Terry, they would tell you the same thing.
I think a lot of it, what I've noticed is that even when I've been out, you know, on the trail, not going very far, of course, because I'm old, you know, if the trail isn't established, I don't think I'll be going. But you just said something so interesting. The woods felt different. Now, up at Hinsdale, Clara Miller used to say umbrella nights, where barometric pressure was very high, static electricity was very high, and the woods felt different. The woods felt different. I'm a firm believer that I really think that has to do with energy, that has to do with frequency. I believe that when it builds up, now could it be mindless psychokinetic? Yeah, it could be, but everything feeds on something. Everything is powered by something. This psychokinetic energy could be what's sparking either the Bigfoot phenomena, UFO phenomena, paranormal phenomena. I mean, we don't know, but
we don't know.
We do know, we guys like us have experienced when things just feel off. And usually when that stuff happens, that's when there's some kind of reaction. We're the action. It's like dowsing. We're the action. And because we're like that lightning rod walking into a field of static electricity or whatever, there's a reaction to it.
I've always said, Tim, you know, like for years, that, you know, I do believe about portals. Vortex, you know, things that open. So are things coming out of it under certain conditions? So to me, again, this is just my line of thinking. I could be wrong. I'm wrong about a lot of stuff, Tim.
Hey, just ask
my wife, right, Terry?
I was just gonna say, just ask our wives. Our wives will tell you that we are wrong about a lot.
We're wrong a lot, and I'm getting good at it. But anyway, so here, what I've always thought.
Sorry.
It's okay.
You cut me on that one. I didn't expect that one.
There's something happens with certain conditions, and again, you know, this even space weather. You know, are you bombarded by like some solar rays, and maybe you're on a certain plot of ground that has quartz crystals or something. Uh, all of these factors maybe can cause a rift or something to open and something to come through and then go back through. Maybe just random. Maybe they can control it again. And a lot of people are going to say, "Man, he's going nuts now." But I do think here's an interesting thing. When we researched the Dogman, which we haven't had any reports for a while, when we were getting the reports, most of them seemed to center around power substations, or when there was lightning in the building of buildup of static electricity, and then these things appear. They appear for a short time, then they're gone. Now again, it doesn't happen. We have like 3 cases like that they were seen either near. The one was seen going into a power station, actually 2 of them. And so, is there something with that power station, that opens up something and these creatures come out? There was, do you know a researcher named Barton Nunley?
Yes. Yes.
So he had it in one of his books. This is really, really interesting about a Dogman report. So this farmer was out in his field. He looks across the field. He sees a shimmer, kind of like if you're driving down the road on a hot day, that wave in front of you?
Right. Right.
This Dogman pops out. It's looking around, smells the air, and it sees him. It sees the farmer, steps back and disappears. Not my story, it's his. It's in one of, I think, maybe Mysterious Kentucky. And I always point to that. I'm like, here is it. To me, that shimmer, that's a portal. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, and I'm fine with being wrong. Put 2 and 2 together. What's the shimmer? And all of a sudden, something steps out, and then it goes back and disappears. What would you call it? I don't know what to call it.
See, my biggest problem with portals, because everybody and their brother, somebody passes gas in a room in an abandoned asylum, and that's a portal.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? There's always there's a portal for everything.
Yeah.
And portals are blamed for everything, and I don't feel that they're that naturally there are that many naturally occurring portals. Yes, I do believe they're there. I don't believe every time you open up a closet there's a portal in the back of a closet.
I agree.
Like some people say, oh, there's a portal back here. That's why I don't believe in that. But I do believe that there's power sources where it attracts, for, like you said, I mean, you get the right geology. It acts as a battery.
Water, quartz crystals, yeah. I mean,
that's
again,
what people.
More metaphysical side, but I mean, again, Tim, like you said, we don't know, so we just have to do the experiments. And if they fail, they fail. I mean, what's all you're investing is your time. Well, sometimes a lot of money you don't have, but but you got to try. You got to try.
But that's it. What else you got? My biggest problem with everybody is the fact that people, instead of experimenting and being satisfied with the results, whether they're positive or negative, they're not getting it. That's why it's important for people to go and start being creative. People need to start doing different, using the gray matter to push things in a little different way. I mean, I knew like Rosemary Ellen Guiley. She was great.
Oh, she was awesome. Yeah, good friend of
ours. She used to, she would push it, and she was unapologetic. That's what I loved about her. I always remember we were at a UFO thing, and something was in the air. And I said to her, do you think that, the person was calling him in or something? And I said, bro, do you think that that's a UFO? She goes, well, I'll tell you one goddamn thing. That ain't no goddamn UFO. I'll tell you, I don't know what it is, but that's not what it is. You know how roll little, just a little crusty New Englander. She was, I loved her to death. And, I mean, but who cares what the end result is? Let's try this stuff. Let's get out there and be imaginative. There's correlations to everything, because if we didn't go and experiment and we didn't succeed, we wouldn't have the technology that we have today. You being here on the show, or anything. We wouldn't have cars. We'd still be well, you and I'd be in the Flintstone mobile, that's the way it
Yep.
is,
Yep.
I got my feet are about 12 and a half now. So they've gotten bigger. They've gotten bigger in my old age. So, I mean, I know I can run those babies, but without that, people are missing the boat. And too many people just complain about not having the money to do this stuff, not having the money to go out and buy all this stuff. And it's amazing what you can accomplish. I bought that little my little tuning fork kit.
Mhm.
It was on Amazon. I just kind of kept looking until I found the cheapest ones, and I bought it for $7.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or wish.com, you can buy this stuff cheap. The idea is that you get out there and you experiment.
Try. Just try. I mean, the fun part to me, like you says, it's the fun part of it is trying. Uh, the results are the results, and I'll tell people nothing happened. I'm fine with telling people
Yeah,
that
I see. I am too.
our results. We don't have any, but you know what? One researcher told me one time. There's also something important with negative data.
There is.
So, and
Oh
I'm
no,
like,
there is.
yeah.
And you know what? Negative data shouldn't be hidden. It should be, you
Throw it
should.
out there. Throw it out there.
See, I'm big about that. I'm the same way. I'm not afraid to say, "Hey, listen, I'll build up." They're always good stories, and you build it up, build it up, and build it up, and you say, "Guess what happened?" And everybody's like, "What
Nothing.
happened?" You go, "Nothing happened." And at that point, everybody's laughing or whatever. But it's a great way of teaching and inspiring people because it's fun. People see how much fun you have in the activity of doing it.
Mhm.
And let's face it, man, we talk about we talk about like paying for stuff we ain't got the money for.
Yeah.
You know what? I know for a fact that you and I don't live above our means. You and I have we're in that same boat where we really, we watch what we spend,
Mhm.
where a lot of people don't. A lot of people get the latest catalog or latest email in and they just go bank, bank, bank. Before
Yeah.
they know it, they're spending $2,000, $3,000 on stuff
Yeah.
that they'll use once. And I would much rather go research something like we've been doing. And that infrasound, I've been right now. I've been kind of playing with that a little bit, and I got my eye on a receiver that like is beyond my pay grade right now, but it really has a lot of possibilities. But I mean, what you do is you save your money, you buy one piece of equipment and experiment with it until it can't be experimented with it any
Yep.
longer.
Yep.
That's the secret of progress. And along the way, you make mistakes. You tell other people about it, they won't make those mistakes, but they may see what you've been doing, tweak your idea a little
Tweak
bit
it.
and
Yeah.
get success. That's
Add
what I
something
love
that,
about
yeah.
it.
Add something that. That's why I love watching. Even like a lot of I know most of the shows are fake, but some of the shows, and I'm like,
Horrors. No, they're not all fake. Come on. Come on. We don't want to go and we don't want to cut my paycheck off. No,
so what I do is I'll watch them.
no.
I'll watch them and I'll say, hey, they're using this piece of equipment. What if I would do that and combine it with something else?
Right. I love
Try.
that.
And just a word to anyone out there that I'm sure like a lot of people in your audience have tried and they'll never tell anybody they failed. Go ahead and tell people. I mean, what's it going to hurt? What are you really? Who are you trying to like? I don't. We never try to impress anybody
No.
or us, and we don't make money off of this. We're just doing it for the love of it. I mean, you've seen the library. That's all. That's the F
Guys,
files. But
guys, let me tell you something. The Seech Library is crazy big. It's in the old house, it was basically your whole basement.
Mhm.
And he has case files. He's modest, but he has case files that he opened up one drawer. I looked in there and I swear to God, I thought I was in a doctor's office. He had so many case files in there. And I'm just thinking to myself, oh, well, I got a drawer and a half of case files for me. This
We
guy's
had a
got
lot of people. Yeah, we've had a lot of people like Dr. Paul Johnson, even like Jody Cook, Fred Saluga. They all
yeah.
donated a bunch of stuff. So, yeah, that goes for a lot of people helping us out. And over 35, 36 years worth. So
Yeah.
it's not like it's a 2-year worth. It's yeah. For me, uh, the books aren't as much as the paper files,
Right.
the newspaper articles, the old magazines, which a lot of them you can't find anymore. That's more the S files. The books are the books. I mean, I
I
love the
agree.
books, but
I mean, I still have one of the greatest things that I did when my mom passed away was you're like me. You are like a scrapbooker. You find something, an
Mhm.
article someplace, you cut it out,
Yep,
tape it in
yep.
the scrapbook.
We get excited too, huh, Tim? When we find these articles, we get excited.
Oh my God. I found articles going back to the 70s of Hinsdale when it was happening.
Oh
I
wow,
found an
that's
article
cool.
all about Father Alphonsus Trabold.
Wow, that's cool.
I think 75 or 1976. I was going through these things, and of course, you got a lot of the schlock stuff, the National Enquirer stuff, and all that. Because when you're a
Yeah,
kid at that point, there really wasn't anything out there,
yeah,
but
yeah.
they're all in there. But then every so often, you come across these gems, these old newspaper articles, or like little blurbs, and they're little windows, and it gives you that little incentive to kind of explore it. And then now when I look at it, I brought those over, and then I probably got about 12 scrapbooks just of newspaper articles.
Yeah.
And I just love being able to sometimes go back and look at them and just say, you know what, I'm going to take a ride there tomorrow. I'm retired, so what else do I got to do? I'm going to take a ride there tomorrow. I'm going to go, it's not that far away. It's maybe 2 hours away from my house. I'm going to stop there. I want to see what people saw. And back, of course, back then it was all farmland. Now it's probably more, most of the times it's more built up. But I mean,
Yes.
there are UFO areas in there. There are Bigfoot areas in there. That's what you want. You want to be able to find that stuff and being able to save it. And you got so many firsthand. Oh my God, you showed me some firsthand accounts of Bigfoot and UFOs. I'm like, oh my God. I'll be honest with you. I'll bet you could give MUFON a run for your money in your area.
Well,
I think you probably could.
MUFON is just awesome. They just moved their office to Cincinnati.
Right.
They had a whole huge truck, and it just massive. What they have, and we used to be investigators years ago
Mm-hmm.
with MUFON. My wife was the state section director, and it seems like eons ago, but we used to do. We were investigators for them, and they just have, and that's good. You have to document that, and that's what I think. A lot of these newer researchers, they don't go back into the old files.
No.
They think everything's on the internet, and actually, only for the paranormal, only a small percent is out there. It is, and I hate to burst like a lot of the newer people's bubble, but it's just not out there. It's just you have to get them in specified magazines or old newspaper clippings that aren't online. There's a lot more isn't
Right.
online than it is. Let's be honest.
And I mean, like, what I love is in Buffalo, we have a great big, our main library has all the microfiche of the old newspapers.
Yeah.
So you can actually go out there and you can go through all these newspapers of certain time periods. Let's say the 70s, like 1974, 75, 72 through 75 up here was when they had a big flap.
Yes,
And
73
big
here. Yes.
So you can go out there and just spend an afternoon going through those, and all of a sudden you start picking up UFO, Bigfoot, and you start getting that in your local newspapers. None of that's on the internet. It's all there in microfiche.
Yep, and you have to pull the articles. We actually helped, Stan. We actually helped Stan do some research for his book Silent Invasion, and we went down to
that would be Stan Gordon, and he's the
yeah.
expert on Kecksburg, the Kecksburg
and
incident.
So we went down to the Aliquippa Library, and Terry and I spent an afternoon, and we pulled 3 or 4 articles that he didn't have, and we sent it to him, and he thanked us in the book. But it's like a detective, and it's exciting. I mean, again, for us older guys, it's exciting. For some of these younger people, it's like, what is microfilm? What is that? What are you doing? But let's face it. But yeah, for us, when we do it, if we find something, it's like we won the lottery. Let's be. I know it sounds like a big nerd thing, but it's like
But that's the way it is. You have to do all the back. You got to do so much back checking, and you have to really kind of take that time to do it. And there's so much stuff that's like hidden, and that's what you look for. It's even trying, like, with me looking for older mediums and looking for any kind of references to them. You can go to Lilydale, and they've got all the psychic news going back. Oh my God, almost to the beginning, and you can go through the page by page by page. So when you're looking for like different mediums, you're looking at the time periods, you're looking at what they were doing, the experiments that they did, you know, and it pretty much spells it out how you do it. So that's what you look for, and that's what it gets. That's when it gets exciting. I'll never forget the first time I went down to St. Bonaventure University and I pulled Father Alphonsus Trabolt's, whatever that was, whatever wasn't like sealed by the diocese, because they have a lot of correspondence between people, and Ed and Lorraine Warren and stuff. That's all sealed, so you can't get into those. But I'll never forget when the archivist rolled out these like 4 or 5 boxes, and they were full to the top of nothing but articles and his teaching materials, his lesson plans.
Wow.
I mean, it was just
so cool.
interviews that people had did with him personally. And I mean, it was just amazing, because I must have sat down. I think I went 2 solid days and just read everything, and I copied everything and scanned it all into, onto a hard drive, because that's where the meat of it is. And that's when I was working with the on the Hinsdale case in the beginning, before it got, before my buddy Dan bought it and bought the house, and it got more popular through TV. But this is back when, everybody was like, Hinsdale, what? They have I think they have a dairy there, don't they? Isn't there a good barbecue place down? That's it.
Yeah,
that's
that
all.
was famous. Yeah.
So it's really great. It's really great. Hey, my buddy John Kennedy is on. John Kennedy is on the mend. He's a beautiful human being. Everybody send some more healing vibes to him, because this guy has got to get out there, because he is a living legend in Michigan. That's the guy that I love, and he has just got to go, and he's got to listen. I'll rent the Hinsdale house for this guy to show up, just to show up, because that's just the way he is. But yeah, he lives up way up north in Michigan, and he's been under the weather. So we're so glad that you're slowly getting better. And like I told you,
healing prayers to you, John.
Johnny's a good guy, and he's a little fatigued, but he's doing good. Hey, I kept you on. It's after 8:00. Listen, you're old. I'm old. We got to go to bed. Hey, if somebody's interested in doing things in your area, how can they get a hold of you? Do you have like a Facebook page?
Yeah, it'd be best probably on Facebook. We have the Center for Cryptozoological Studies Facebook, and the Center for Unexplained Events Facebook, or just message me or look me up at Brian Seech. And
Brian Seech,
we'll get back to you.
Wait a minute, just Brian Seech. No, Brian Seech. That's not just. Well, Brian, stay on the line.
Okay.
I want to thank you properly for being on.
Okay.
We'll close out.
I had a great time. I appreciate you having me on.
You'll be on again. You'll be on again, because I'm telling you, I've known you for like way too many years, and you were the first one that was like honest with me with stuff. So it was like, and considering the other people that we were with, we won't even go there. But it was that's definitely that's a story for Brian and I to sit and have a beer with and remember those days and just shake our heads. But Bri is out of everybody, Bri puts his money where his mouth is. He is boots on the ground. If you want to meet somebody that is really hardcore and has been doing this since they've been kids, basically, that this is the guy that you want to talk to. So, Brian, thank you so much for being on the Black Cat Lounge. You're like, I'm telling you, this is awesome. Great, man. Yep. The two of us, we talked for almost an hour before the show.
Yeah, we did, huh? I forgot about it. Yeah.
So it's like 2 hours. So both our voices are gone. So hold on the line, buddy. I'll be right over. I'll be right with you.
Okay.
Hey, he's my buddy, and I am so happy that he's here. But anyway, guys, be innovative, man. Be innovative. Don't think twice about getting your hands dirty and screwing up and not getting a positive response. Just do it. Okay? Just do it. Do some research and experiment, because that's the only way that we're going to push these fields forward. It's great to watch TV. It's great to emulate these people, unless it like costs you $1,001, for a piece of equipment that you'll use once and it'll break for you, a Tonka toy thing. Just be innovative. And that's what I love about Brian. And we had all sorts of other stuff we were going to talk about. Well, we got on that innovative feed, and we just couldn't stop. And that's what's so great. And this is what happens when you get two old friends, two old farts talking together. That's what it is. We'll just call ourselves farts. Hey, you've been listening to me, Tim Shaw, here on the Black Cat Lounge. We're going to be back. I think maybe we'll be back next Tuesday. We'll see what's going on. But have a great Yule. Have a Merry Christmas. If you feel like going out dancing in the snow naked, do it, but try to do it after dark so you don't scare any of the neighborhood, neighbors, anybody, people like get a little crazy about that. But really, have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful holiday. And again, my buddy John Kennedy, the other night we actually had we were on Messenger, we were going back and forth, and this is the first time in about 3-4 weeks that we actually were able to go and really talk and just have some fun, just chewing the bull. So he's on the mend, but lots of good energy heading yours way. So anyway, you're here at the Black Cat Lounge. Where else? Where the elite meet, next to the dumpster transfer station. See you guys soon. Thanks for listening in, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.